And mark well me words, mateys. Dead men tell no tales.
Hello everyone and welcome to this week's episode of Minecraft Disney World. Today we're going to be taking a look at a fan favorite ride. It's in multiple parks. It is, of course, Pirates of the Caribbean. You might know it from the movies, but it actually was an attraction first. It's an interesting case of cross-promotion that Michael Eisner was very big on, and we're going to dive in. We're going to take a look at the Walt Disney World version, but, you know, as we've done in the past, we're going to talk a little bit about the Disneyland version too, since that's where it sort of was born. So, Pirates of the Caribbean was originally a ride that opened in Disneyland. It was actually the last attraction that Walt Disney himself participated in building. It opened about 3 months after he died, so we never actually got to see it when it was opened, and that was in the spring of 1967. It was, like many of the rides at that time, sort of undergoing an evolution. It was originally going to be this walk-through wax museum that showed all of these different pirate scenarios, similar to the way that the Haunted Mansion was going to be a walk-through haunted house. But of course, as we mentioned last week with It's a Small World, this sort of omni-mover system of ride vehicles in which you have a constant stream of vehicles coming in and out that just made it faster to get people through the ride, ended up replacing the walk-through concept in both Pirates of the Caribbean and in the Haunted Mansion. So it was this wax museum that eventually became a ride that used audio animatronic figures, and you would get into a boat and you would ride through, and you'd see these pirates pillaging this Caribbean island town. What's funny about the ride is it didn't open on opening day in the Magic Kingdom in Walt Disney World. In fact, there were no plans to put Pirates of the Caribbean in Disney World whatsoever. The mentality that Disney had was that Disney World, being in Central Florida, was so close to the real Caribbean that there wouldn't be much of a demand for a ride about the Caribbean. So they left it out, and they were originally going to put, I believe it was a Frontierland minecart ride in that space. But the success of Pirates of the Caribbean in Disneyland led to a high demand for it in Disney World, and so they eventually caved and they sort of built a version there. And then they've eventually built a version in Tokyo Disneyland in 1983, and then there's a version in Disneyland Paris in 1992 that opened. So there are 4 versions floating around now. They are all very similar, although their outsides are a little different. The one in Disneyland's in New Orleans Square, but the one in Disney World is it's in Adventureland, and it's made to be more of a Spanish era fort, I should say. It's actually guarded by this watchtower called Torre del Sol, and it's in this fort called Castillo del Moro. And that's inspired by an actual fort called Castillo del San Felipe del Moro in San Juan. So, like many rides at Disney, it sort of has this basis in reality, even though they're sort of fantastical rides. They draw inspiration from real-life places to make it feel extremely authentic. And another fun fact about the Disney version is that as you might know, Disney World's Magic Kingdom is actually on the second floor. The ground level of the theme park is actually underground, and it acts as the utilidors, and it's the system in which cast members use to get around. And actually in MC Magic on the server, they have their own utilidor system. And the reason that's considered the first floor is because it is ground level, because Florida has an extremely shallow waterbed, so they can't dig low under the ground level. So the first floor is this underground level for employees, and then they built on top of all of that the actual theme park. Now, Pirates of the Caribbean, one of the few rides that actually goes to the first floor, because when you ride it, there's this dip in the boat that brings it down to ground level, and you ride through it there, and then after you get off, you take a ramp back up to the first floor, so to speak, or the second floor, I guess you should say, where the theme park is. And there are fun little hidden things in the ride. For instance, if you're on the queue, one of the things that I think everybody notices when they're walking by is there's a dungeon with two people sitting there playing chess. The two skeletons are playing chess. And while it's seemingly random, the Mark Davis specifically designed a set of pieces to go in certain places so that any move in chess would result in a stalemate. And so the story there is that no matter what they did, they would be in a stalemate, and that's why they spent the rest of their lives playing chess until they became skeletons. It just shows you the level of dedication that Disney has towards detail, that beyond having this detail of these two skeletons playing chess in a dungeon, it's actually a legitimate set of chess moves that you wouldn't notice just by walking by, but they put it in there anyway for those people who do find that sort of stuff, and it just sort of adds another layer to this experience. And of course, the ride is probably most famous now for being the original inspiration for the Pirates of the Caribbean film series with Johnny Depp and Orlando Bloom. They tried to do that again with the Haunted Mansion, but it didn't really work, and I think you're going to see it happen again because Guillermo del Toro is working on a Haunted Mansion sort of reboot, and it'll be interesting to see if, like the Pirates of the Caribbean, if they'll go back and redo the ride in some places to match the movies, because with the Pirates of the Caribbean, after the films were such a big success, they went back and they put Johnny Depp, his character, as well as a couple of other characters from the film, into the ride. So it's sort of like this strange situation where the attraction inspired the movie and then the movie inspired the attraction. In any case, this has been a short look at Pirates of the Caribbean. I don't even have to recommend it. It's one of those rides that are considered a must-do if you ever go to Disney World, so you'll probably ride it if you ever go out there. It's a lot of fun. It's one of those rides that has so much detail packed into the scenery that you could ride it 10 times and you'll still find new things to focus on and new effects to catch that you didn't catch before. In any case, I hope you have a great week. Whatever you're doing, please make the most of it. And I hope to see you all here next week, where we're going to grab another attraction from the MC Magic server that is a complete recreation of Disney World. And we're going to talk a little bit about the history on Minecraft Disney World. Bye, guys.